Hello students, Devashish again from Dev's Learning Hub. Today we are going to take the class on trigonometry of class 10. This is the third class. In the first two classes I have covered examples or exercise as well as the overall idea of the trigonometrical ratios, the relation between them and the square formulas of trigonometrical ratio. So in this today's third class itself, where I am going to cover values of trigonometrical ratios for angles 0 degree, 30 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree and 90 degree. The values already you know from class 9, but still I will cover this topic here itself, and there I am going to give you the tips how to remember the values for these angles, just for your fundamental understanding how the values of from 0 degree to 90 degree, 0, 30, 45 degree, 60 degree and 90 degree, how the values are actually coming. The topic is values of trigonometrical ratios for angles 0 degree, 30 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree. All these values already you know. What I am going to tell you, how the tips to remember and how these values are actually coming, evaluation of these values, couple of trigonometrical coefficient values for these angles I will show you from this triangle figure, right? So first let me tell you what is your observation from this angle. First of all, the observation from this values is sine 0 is 0, sine 30 is half, that is 0.5, sine 45 is 1 by root 2, and sine 60 root 3 by 2, sine 90 is 1. That means gradually sine is increasing. When the angle is the acute angle and up to from 0 degree till 90 degree, sine value is gradually increasing when the angle value of the angle is also increasing. But cos is just the reverse. Cos value is decreasing with the increment of angle. Cos 0 is 1, the highest value of cos theta, right? Cos is 1 for 0 degree, whereas it is decreasing, and finally for cos 90 degree the value is 0. So with the increment of angle, cos value is decreasing gradually. So, and how actually this relation between sine and cos with respect to these values, just if you remember sine itself or cos, any of these values if you remember, then you can remember the entire table. In case you forget the values, then you can do it on your own even. Assume, or I will remember only for sine values. So sine 0 0, cos sine 30 half, cos sine 45 1 by root 2, sine 60 root 3 by 2, sine 91. These 5 angles just I need to remember. Rest I can do. So sine 0, where just the reverse of sine 0 to 90, the reverse is for cos. So this one cos 9 sine 90 is with cos 0. Cos 6 sine 60 is cos 30. Sine 45 cos 45 same. Sine 30 cos 60 and sine 90 cos sine 0 cos 90. So that means what you can see, if you remember the sine table for these 5 values, automatically for the cos values just reverse it. Sine 0 equals to cos 90, sine 30 equals to cos 60. Why? Because just now I have shown you the complementary angle. Sine theta equals to cos of 90 minus theta. So sine 30 degree equals to cos of 90 minus 30 degree, that is cos 60 degree. Therefore sine 30 degree equals to cos 60 degree. Now sine 45 degree equals to cos 45 degree, because if alpha plus beta equals to 90 and both alpha and beta is 45 degree, that means sine beta equals to 90 minus alpha, that is alpha is 45, beta is also 45. That means therefore sine 45 and cos 45 is 1 by root 2, both the ratios are same. How these values are coming, that I will show you. But how these values are related with respect to complementary angle, now you can relate. Cos 6 sine 60 equals to cos 30. So sine 60 equals to cos of sine alpha equals to cos of 90 minus alpha. So sine 60 equals to cos of 90 minus 60, that is cos 30. Therefore sine 60 root 3 by 2, cos 30 is also root 3 by 2. Sine 90 equals to cos 0. Sine 90 equals to cos of 90 minus 90, that is cos 0. So sine of 91, cos of 0 is also 1. So this is what the values are related between sine and cos with respect to complementary angles, and that is how the table. So what is the tips to remember? If you remember the sine values from 0 to 90 degree, then you can remember you can easily find out the values of cos from 0 degree to 90 degree with respect to these 5 angles, right? 0, 30, 45, 60 and 90. Now if you know sine and cos, then you can easily find out tan, because you see sine 0 is 0, cos 0 is 1. Now tan theta equals to sine theta by cos theta, that means 0 by 1 equals to 0. Sine 30 is half, cos 30 is root 3 by 2, that means sine theta by cos theta equals to tan theta, that means 1 half by root 3 by 2, that is 1 by root 3. Sine 45 by cos 45 equals to tan 45, so therefore 1 by root 2 by 1 by root 2, that is equals to 1. Sine 60 by cos 60, that is tan 60, so root 3 by 2 by half, that is equals to root 3. Whereas sine 90 by cos 90 is tan 90, sine 90 is 1, cos 90 is 0. So when there is 0 in the denominator, in that case the number is undefined. Therefore tan 90 is undefined. So both the points now I have covered. One observation is you need to remember that always sine value is increasing with the increment of angles for acute angles, and whereas for cos values for that angle is gradually decreasing with the increment of the angle. Why I have said all these things? Because this sine and cos increment and decrement, this concept will be very much useful with respect to problems that I will cover in the next video itself, and that will be useful for any kind of trigonometrical problems going forward, even for 11-12 also. But in case you find it difficult to remember all these values, just remember either sine or cos. Then easily, if you remember sine, you can find out cos. If you remember cos, you can find out sine. And if you know sine and cos, then you can easily find out tan. Right? Now, whatever is tan, cot will be just reciprocal to that. Whatever is cos, sec will be reciprocal to that. And whatever is sine, cosec will be reciprocal to that sine. Right? Now I will show you how these values are coming from the triangle itself. How the values in the trigonometrical tables, those are coming. I will show you for sine. Rest for cos also you can do it in the similar way. And if you know sine and cos, then you can know tan. And if you know sine cos also tan, you know cosec sec and cot also, right? So I will show you with respect to sine theta. Now I will first show you with respect to 30 degree, 60 degree and 45 degree. 0 and 90, lastly I will tell you. Okay, so to find out the values for 60 degree and 30 degree, sine 30 and sine 60, let's assume this is you can see equilateral triangle, right? So equilateral triangle, all the angles are 60 degree. For this ABC triangle, all the angles are 60 degree, and AB equals to A, BC equals to A, and AC equals to also A. So now if I draw a perpendicular from the vertex from C on AB for equilateral triangle, with respect to geometry, you know already for equilateral triangle, if you draw a perpendicular from a vertex to the opposite side itself, it will bisect the opposite side. That you know already, but still I'll show you once more. Okay, so let's say I am drawing a perpendicular from this particular vertex C on AB. Right? So in that case, it will intersect the point, let's say at D. So if AB is A, then AD equals to BD, right? So BD is A by 2. Why it is so? Because when you are drawing a perpendicular from the vertex on the opposite side itself, and this perpendicular means this angle is 90 degree. Now if you consider these two triangle ACD and BCD, then angle A equals to angle B 60 degree, right? And this is 90 degree, both the angles are 90 degree. That means this angle equals to this angle. So, and that means if 60 degree it is bisecting that angle, that means the value of this particular angle, that is 30 degree. So what is the value of this particular angle? The value of this particular angle is 30 degree. So this is how 30 degree. So when you are considering this, so one way it is bisecting. Why it is bisecting? Because all the angles are equal. So if all the angles are equal, these are the similar triangles. So if these are two similar triangles, that means here it is AD equals to BD, because AC equals to BC and this is common CD, that means AD equals to BD. Therefore BD is half of AB. So therefore BD equals to A by 2. Got it? In triangle CDB, what you can see, what is the value of CD? Value of CD is, now it is a rectangle triangle CDB. So CD square equals to, with respect to the Pythagoras theorem, CD square equals to BC square minus BD square. That is equals to BC square means it is A square and BD square means A square by 4. A by 2 whole square, that means A square by 4. That is equals to 4A square minus A square, 3A square by 4. That means root over 3 by 2A. Root over 3 by 2A. This is what CD. So CD, you know, CD is root over 3A by 2. And what is the value of CB? CB is A. So CD by CB is root over 3 by 2A by A, that is equals to root over 3 by 2. So sine 60 degree value is root over 3 by 2. And when sine 60 degree is root over 3 by 2, that means cos 30 is root over 3 by 2. And what is the value of sine 30? Sine 30 equally, you will see sine 30 means BD. When you will consider this angle, that means perpendicular, you will need to consider BD by BC. BD is A by 2 and BC is A. That means BD by BC, this is A by 2 by A. A by 2 by A means you will cancel A, that means half. That means sine 30 degree equals to half. So now you can see sine 30 degree equals to half and sine 60 degree equals to root 3 by 2. All these two are proven. So if you know sine 30, it is half, that means cos 60 complementary angle. Sine 30 equals to cos of 90 minus 30, that is equals to cos 60, that is equals to half. And sine 60 equals to root 3 by 2, that is equals to cos of 90 minus 60, that is cos of 30 degree. Now I will consider with respect to 0, 45 degree and 90 degree. So these two things already you have proven. Sine 60 equals to root 3 by 2. Now it is with respect to complementary angle, that is equal to cos 30 degree, and sine 30 also we have proven half, and with respect to complementary angle, that is equals to cos 60 degree. Okay. Now we'll see with respect to sine 0, sine 0, sine 90, sine 45. Now let's say for this rectangle triangle ABC, you can see this is an isosceles rectangle triangle. That means other than the rectangle 90 degree, remaining angles, that is ACB and CBA, these two are also 45 degree. AC equals to AB, both are of length A. So both are of length A, that means what is the value of BC? BC equals to root over AC square plus AB square with respect to Pythagoras theorem. Now if it is AC square plus AB square, that means root over A square plus A square, that is equals to root 2A. So BC equals to root over 2A. Now, if BC equals to root over 2A, that means tan sine 45 degree AC by BC. So now you can see sine 45 degree equals to AC by BC, perpendicular AC. I am considering this angle B, right? 45 degree, you can consider this angle also. So if I consider angle B, sine 45 degree equals to AC by BC. AC by BC, AC is A, BC is root over 2A, already we have found out, right? So A by root over 2A, 1 by root 2. Similarly, cos 45 degree equals to AB by BC, AB is A, BC is root over 2A, that means 1 by root 2. That means sine 45 and cos 45 both are 1 by root 2, that is proven from this triangle. Okay? Now it is a conceptual part. You need to understand with respect to sine 0 degree and sine 90 degree. Okay. Sine 0 degree and sine 90 degree. You need to understand this part. Sine 0 degree, when it will coming? So gradually, if I reduce this angle from 45 degree, so when you are reducing this angle gradually, what is happening? Your base is same, but your perpendicular is reducing. So when finally you will come to 0 degree, that means your hypotenuse, length of hypotenuse, that will be equal to your base. and the length of the perpendicular, that will be 0. When the gradually this angle between hypotenuse and base, that is decreasing, and finally it is coming to 0, that means your length of perpendicular is 0 and your hypotenuse length will be equal to your base. Okay, so in that case what is going to happen? Perpendicular will be trending towards 0. Perpendicular is equals to 0 and base equals to will be hypotenuse. Now if perpendicular equals to 0, that means your, what is the formula of sin theta? Sin theta, sin 0 degree equals to perpendicular by hypotenuse. Whatever is the length of hypotenuse, it doesn't matter, but your perpendicular is 0. That means 0 by something means 0. That is why value of sin 0 equals to 0. That is why the value of sin 0, it becomes 0. So you understand the concept. When the angle is gradually reducing, the angle between the adjacent of the base and the hypotenuse, angle between hypotenuse and base, that is decreasing gradually and it is trending towards 0. That means the length of perpendicular, that is also diminishing. So finally, when with respect to 0 degree, the perpendicular length will be 0. So if the formula of sin theta equals to perpendicular by hypotenuse, so when the perpendicular length of perpendicular is 0, that means the value of sin 0 degree is 0. And with respect to cos 0, what is going to happen? Cos 0 is base by hypotenuse. Now when the with respect to angle 0, this hypotenuse, finally it is going to happen that this hypotenuse will be equal to base, because that will be overlying on the base itself, right? So finally what is going to happen? The length of perpendicular is gradually diminishing and the hypotenuse is also will be equal to base. That means what is the formula of cos theta? Cos theta equals to base by hypotenuse. So therefore base by hypotenuse, if both base and hypotenuse, these two will be equal, that means cos 0 will be 1. So therefore for 0 degree cos 0 equals to 1. So now you understand from geometrical concept how these values sin 0, cos 0, sin 30, cos 30, sin 60, cos 60, sin 45, cos 45, all these values in the table are coming. And with respect to 90 degree, what is going to happen? When these values will be equal to 90 degree, this 90 degree angle will be gradually increasing. That means it will be converted to a rectangle. So now you will increase this way, right? So gradually when you are increasing, this is the delta values, right? So these values of the perpendicular, that is also going to increase. So finally what is going to happen? This perpendicular for cos 0, what happened? The base and hypotenuse becomes equal. Now with respect to 90 degree, your perpendicular and hypotenuse will be equal, because the angle will be increasing, means it is finally when the 90 degree it will happen, because when it will be rectangle. So in that case, when this will be 90 degree, that means the perpendicular will be equal to the hypotenuse. So perpendicular by hypotenuse, that will be 1. And what is sin 90? Sin 90 means cos of 90 minus 90 with respect to complementary angle. That means cos 0. So sin 90 equals to cos 0 equals to 1. Okay. So sin 90 will be 1. Sin 0 equals to 0. So we have proven sin 0 from the triangle. We have proven sin 30, sin 60, sin 45, cos 45, all these things from the triangle. Only for the sin cos 0 itself, we have proven cos 0 equals to sin 90, because cos 0 and sin 90 we have proven 1. That means sin 90 equals to cos of 90 minus 90 with respect to complementary angle, and so therefore it is cos 0. So cos 0 equals to 1. So if you like this video, then please click on the like button, and if you want to have this kind of video again and again, please subscribe my YouTube channel Dev's Learning Hub, and also follow my Facebook page with the same name Dev's Learning Hub. Okay, chalo, thank you very much.